Hello everybody, welcome back to the Craft Beer Hub. This isn't a beer review, this is more of a chat. Now, firstly, let me just address why I'm sitting on the floor with sockets hanging off the wall. As you can see, I've been painting today. This is the new studio, and you're obviously going to see that in the next few videos, hopefully. Probably be, about a week or two. Anyway, what are we doing today? This is a chat, and this is a chat that I'd like you guys to get involved with in the comments box, because this is going to concern certainly the beer drinking community, and probably a little bit beyond. I'm recording this a day after having a phone conversation with John at Lord's Brewing Company, and John and I just talked rubbish like we did for about an hour yesterday. And it kind of got, some of the stuff we talked about, it kind of got me thinking. This is nothing to do with John, this is totally my own thoughts. Is in this kind of cost of living crisis that they talk about, with the word recession, which I hate because it just brings back memories of 2008 and all the rest of the following years. The reality is we are probably going to be feeling the pinch a little bit more than we're already feeling it. Now, the first thing that happened, if I can cast my mind back to 2008, 7, 8, whenever it was, I was 20 years old. I just started my apprenticeship. It was really difficult to get an apprenticeship, but I remember the first thing I did was cut the luxuries out. So going down the pub was a big one. Buying, if we're going to talk sort of beer related stuff, buying beer, beer festivals, they got knocked on the head. And it was a rubbish time, wasn't it, 2008? And unfortunately, I think there's a few people will have you believe that we're going to go back there again. So the worry is, obviously, in terms of craft beer, is where does that leave the craft beer world? From brewer all the way through to consumer. Obviously, the breweries are seeing price rises on literally everything. Energy being the big one, especially for a brewer where they're heating and cooling. You wouldn't believe the amount of money that costs, and I say that as an electrician who I've had people ring me off the hook saying, what do I need to do to get my electricity bills down? And they're always from houses where they've got like storage heaters and things. So yeah, you've got the brew, and then obviously the brewers have then got to buy the malt, and obviously we all know what's going on in Ukraine at the moment, a big the breadbasket of the world, as they say. Then you've got the hops. Obviously, if they're using American hops, they've got to be flown out. They've got to be grown, flown over, and then sold. So brewers are really going to find it tough. That's then going to get knocked down to the bottle shops, if they're selling via a bottle shop or a distributor. And then obviously, at the end, that hits the consumer. We are, as craft beer drinkers, going to see price rises across beer, all the way across beer. I'm just about to host me and a few friends, we're just about to host the Holston Beer Festival. That is the 24th and 25th of June. I've been buying the beer and there's been price rises pretty much across the board. So it does leave the question, what next? You know, what are the options? What have we got? What are the options that we've got as a consumer? And what can we do to prop up the breweries? I mean, I just had a little look on the internet, and if you've only got to go, just Google something like breweries gone bust or breweries out of business in 2022. Was it Quaffle? Or there's a couple of websites that list all the breweries that have gone out of business. Just in the past year, I'm sure there's been more than this, but just from a quick scan, I saw 27 breweries that have gone out of business this year, and I'm sure there's more. There will be more. Some smaller ones would have gone out of business. And, you know, we don't know. I can't say they've all gone out of business because of the cost of living. But it's a lot of breweries to go out of business in such a short space of time. As a craft beer drinker, I don't want to see any craft beer businesses go bust, craft beer breweries go bust. For a couple of reasons. One, it's people's livelihoods. I mean, using John as an example, John's got a family to support. He's got, how many staff has he got? I don't know how many directly employed staff he's got. Let's say 5 or 6. He's got them and their families. he's got to provide for them and their families in a way of business, so they can earn some money. And there's a whole knock-on effect. Equally, I don't want to see the standard of beer go down. I think we've come so far the past 4 years, I'd say, how far we've come with craft beer in the UK, to the point now where we've now got our own hop scene that's kicking off, producing some incredible hops. That's how far it's gone. We've kind of even looked at things like that. I know I bang on about that a lot, but I don't want to see the progress. I don't want to see it digress. Do you know what I mean? I want to see the continued improvement of the industry. If not improvement, just stick where, even if it freezes for a couple of years and then continues. And that will happen if people stop buying craft beer, and it's all to do with buying craft beer. This is probably, I certainly wouldn't say this is consumer advice, because I'm not a consumer advice expert. But this, I'm going to sort of tell you a few tips that I've used in the past and still use to get good deals on beer, or get good beer at a good price. Because craft beer is expensive at the best of times, and obviously, if and when we do go into something deeper than a cost of living crisis, it's going to get more expensive and hit the pocket harder. I'm going to now sit to the side, because I'm going to put some screenshots here or around here, just to sort of give you some examples of what I'm talking about. So I've got a little sheet here. I've jotted down a few points, and it's not consumer advice, but these are sort of little tips that you can sort of hack your way through the recession by still drinking cracking beer, but just getting the better deals. And this is where I want you to get involved. I haven't done too much research, because I want to talk from my perspective. There will be other ways to get great beer at a better price, or great beer at good prices. And I want you to get in the comments and let everybody know. When I say great beer at good prices, I'm not talking about mugging off the breweries, because the alternative is we just stick to the supermarkets, or we stop drinking craft beer at all, altogether. Sorry. So I'm not. This isn't a video mugging off breweries at all. It's not. I can assure you of that. This is a way of or this is some tips that I use that could help you continue to buy from your bottle shop, local brewer, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so we'll start with tip number 1, and it's an obvious one, but it's one that's probably overlooked quite a lot, and that is discount codes. If you go on, I'm just trying to think of some beer websites that I've used in the past that have given codes, like Fuss Club, Beer Hounds. I've never bought anything from Trembling Madness, but it could be them, I don't know. But yeah, discount codes, that's a huge one. If you go online, if you go on a bottle shop website, normally at the top they'll say sign up to our newsletter and get 20% off your first order. Do it. Why wouldn't you do that? Equally, if you buy from them, they'll often hit you. Beer Hounds are one for this. They'll often hit you in a month's time with a discount code. So there you go. There's another 20% off. Come and use us. So yeah, discount codes is a huge one, and don't overlook them, because they are powerful things. Equally, you've got those kind of attachment. I don't know what you would call it, but you kind of like download an app, like a voucher code app, and like stick it in your browser window, or use it on your phone. Where if you're using, I don't know, like say any bottle shops, big breweries that are likely to put out discount codes, use those apps. They're there for you. The breweries are putting them out there, and the bottle shops are putting them out there for you to use. So yeah, certainly use discount codes, because they do benefit hugely. The next one is beer subscriptions. If you've got a trusted bottle shop, or trusted brewery, because I know, for instance, John from Lords has got a beer subscription service. I believe it's on mini kegs, but he might do it on other cans, I don't know. Have a look at subscriptions. If you've got a trusted bottle shop or brewery, use it. Quite often, if you're buying from that brewery anyway, you might see a 10-15% saving if you're just subscribing to their beer boxes every month. I can't remember what. I know a lot of people. There's loads of subscribers on this channel that use John's mini keg subscription, and they do that because number one, they know they trust John's beer, and two, they know they get a good deal every month, and without even worrying, they just get a load of craft beer delivered to their door. So yeah, beer subscriptions are another huge one. Let me tap this. Let me tap the back of this. There we go. The next one is the pre-packed boxes. So what do I mean by that? So one of my first purchases from the Fuss Club was a Daya box. So I can't remember what it was. It was something like 6 beers in a glass, and it worked out to be about 30 quid. And there was a double IPA in there. There were some IPAs. There was a couple of pails. But overall, across the board, I got a glass. Across the board, I saved money, and I think it came with free delivery as well. So instead of buying cans individually, just go and use those pre-packed beer boxes. If you go on places like, Fuss Club, Trembling Madness, I had a look on there the other day, Beer Hounds, they do mixed boxes from a range of different breweries. They'll often do a stout box, IPA box, pale box, imperial box if you want it. But normally those pre-set boxes do work out way cheaper than buying cans individually. The next one is use Facebook forums. If you go, the one I can kind of pluck out my head is the UK Craft Beer Forum. Go on there, become a member of the forum. It's a closed group, and quite often someone will put on, and I've got an example for this. Someone will put on flash sale, and I had this exactly the other day with Pressure Drop. So obviously there's loads of breweries that I've not had brewery from, and Pressure Drop were one of them. And I was just scanning through on lunchtime, and it was flash sale Pressure Drop, 40% off. It was a 40% off code. So straight away, went straight on Pressure Drop, got loads of beers for 40% off. Just like that. And I think the I got cans, 440 cans, IPAs, Imperial Stouts. I was buying Imperial Stouts for like £2.85 a can, £3 a can. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, that's huge. And a lot of people on those websites, they're very well connected. So they'll often be consumer advice, discount codes, new releases, all that sort of stuff. A lot of those stuff is on the forum. So I would encourage you to get on the Facebook forums. And like I say, I think I'm using an example. I can't remember the exact name of the group, but it's something like UK Craft Beer Forum. And the last one, and I don't mean this horribly, is manage your expectations. I love a beer. I absolutely love a beer, as you all know. And I'll tell you what, I've got a beer and I haven't cracked it. This is a Brew York Sham Pale Supernova, an Idaho 7 and Simcoe Pale Ale at 5.5%. Manage your expectations. And I mean that as in, if you go in, whereas before you might have had 50, 60 quid to spend on beer, and you've only got 30 quid to spend on beer, you might have to go to maybe a slightly lesser, in terms of quality or what you prefer. You might have to just drop down a level or two. Still use craft beer, but drop it to a slightly cheaper brewery. That's certainly better than going to the supermarket. And like I say, a lot of these businesses are small businesses. That Tapstone down in Chard in Devon, they were selling their beers for like £2.80 a can. That no one's ever heard of Tapstone. Of course they have, but not a lot of people know about Tapstone. But that's a tiny little business, and you're buying craft beer cheaper than what you get it in the supermarket. So just like manage your expectations, look around a little bit, and yeah, it's going to be a difficult one to take because I think people have their level of beer. Look at that, blooming heck, like this. I have to say this can was given to me by Brew. They're like a brewing software company at BeerX now. Jesus, this is a long time ago. Cool. Yeah, that is good. Wow, that is good. First impressions might be one of the best Brew York beers I've ever had. But yeah, let's not get sidetracked. Manage your expectations and have a little look around. Just be prepared to go elsewhere for your beer if it can get a little bit too pricey. And the other one is look local. I just alluded to it there with the Tapstone brewery down in Chard. I was down in Chard visiting some friends. They live near, is it Bridgewater? They live in a little village near Bridgewater. And we just went online, found them, and like I say, £2.80 a can. If I go to, who have I got around me? Bull of the Woods. Bull of the Woods are one of my local, probably my most local small brewery, really small brewery. They knock out beer at an insane price, £2.50, £2.80 a bottle, 500ml, and it's cracking beer. Have a look local. It doesn't have to come packed with insane American hops for it to be good. A lot of these smaller breweries don't use, obviously that's probably the wrong terminology. It doesn't have to come with the hype and the rep and of all that. I mean, you look at like Cloudwater's beer, Verdant's beer, they are pricey. You know, they're good, but they're pricey. But there will be some beer, a level or two below that, available for a little bit less. And it's all about what budget allows, isn't it? So, yeah, Look Local's a huge one. Because they do sell their beer quite a lot cheaper than the big boys, because they've got small overheads or smaller overheads. So yeah, they're the hacks I generally use. So that was discount codes, beer subscriptions, the pre-packed boxes that come available on bottle shop websites and brewery websites. Use forums, mostly the Facebook forums. Manage your expectations, / look elsewhere, and look to your local brewer. All of those things are going to help, hopefully, keep you out of the supermarket, because there's small breweries and families relying on your business if your budget allows. I am a little bit concerned for the UK craft beer scene, and I hope it's, if we come out of this cost of living crisis, scaremongering thing, but if we come out of this and the UK craft beer scene is close to what it is now, I'll be really, really happy with that. Yeah, they're just the tips that I've used. I've used all of those tips in some way, shape, or form before the cost of living crisis, because craft beer can be expensive. But those tips that I use, they're going to help you hopefully support your local small bottle shops, support your local breweries, and keep drinking craft beer and staying out of supermarkets. Let me know what you think, guys. Get in the comments if you've got any other tips, any other little hacks you've got, discount codes, any advice that you can share to other people to continue to ensure that they can continue on their craft beer journey even when things get a little bit tighter. Get in the comments box. I make this video as a person that deeply loves UK craft beer. Without UK craft beer, I wouldn't have met all of you guys. I wouldn't have met John, Paul, Crummy. I wouldn't have gone to BeerX or Brew London and had the time that I did. Made all the friends in the local brewing industry, the beer festival that I do. I'm a person that loves UK craft beer, and I really, really hope that it doesn't... Is it regress? I said digress earlier. Is it regress? Doesn't fall back as time goes on, when things are a little bit harder on people's pockets. Thanks very much for watching, guys. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. And hit the like button as well. That'd be amazing. And yeah, like I say, get in the comments and help your fellow craft beer drinkers out. Thanks very much, guys. I'm going to enjoy this now after my painting. Cheers.